This video is pretty much a follow-up to yesterday's video, which was how I got in a lot of trouble while I was in prison. And I saw a lot of comments that asked, well, how exactly was the level 2 facility? Was it any better than the level 1? And to be completely honest with you, it wasn't. In fact, it was a lot worse. When I was being transferred to this level 2 facility, I had never been to a level 2 before. All I knew was this level 1 that I had been at. To say I was a little nervous, yeah, I was. In one ear, I had this prisoner who had just came to the level 1 facility telling me, Joe, you've got all this time left. You don't want to be at a level 1. You want to be at a higher level institution where you can have more room to do what you want to do. Which sounded great. I mean, it really did. But in the other ear, I had other prisoners trying to warn me that going to a higher level institution meant more problems could arise. Joe, there's gonna be more gang activity. Imagine this, you're going from a prison that has 150 prisoners at it to a new facility, a higher level that has over 1,000. The gang stuff is gonna be crazy. So it was all of this stuff that was playing in my mind as I was being shipped. Handcuffed, feet shackled, and my cuffed hands were also chained to my waist, sitting in a van, driving to a level 2 prison. When I first arrived at the level 2, it took quite a bit of getting used to. I went from being housed with about 70 prisoners to this level 2 where each individual housing unit held over 100+ prisoners per cell block. Just going to the bathroom in this place was pretty stressful. Imagine 100+ prisoners housed in a small confined space with a bathroom full of toilets with no barriers, no privacy whatsoever, and walking into this bathroom and seeing just how wide open this was, I also noticed how much crazy stuff was going on in these bathrooms. Guys were sitting by the urinals, hiding behind the wall, smoking little roll-up cigarettes and weed. There were guys on the toilet with needles in their arms. You could go in here at any given time just to use the bathroom, sit on the toilet, and look to the side of you and see another guy sitting right beside you with a needle in his arm. Hey man, do you got any toilet paper I could borrow? What? And that's how this place was. It was crazy. Not to mention seeing all of the gang activity that was going on here. Bloods, Crips, and the biggest gang of them all at this prison, MS-13. These guys ran this prison and made up what seemed to be about half of this prison population. It was crazy being here. There were beatings on a daily basis, gangs against gangs, weak prisoners being taken for everything that they had, whether it's their commissary, their shoes, their electronic items. It was insane. And here comes little old me, some guy who's never been to a level 2 before, just trying to come in and find out, hey, who's doing tattoos in here? Where can I get some tattoo equipment? But I had to learn quick because just walking into this new environment, saying that I tattooed, I had a lot of different people trying to give me tattoo equipment. But some of these people were gang members. Oh, you need some tattoo equipment? No problem. We can hook you up with everything you need. I just need you to tattoo my entire set. Can you do that? I'm gonna hold off. I think I got another guy who's got the equipment for me right now. Getting involved with these gangs was one thing that I did not want to do. And when you get to these prisons, they're gonna try you. They're gonna come up to you and be like, hey, what's up, man? What set you rep? What set do I rep? I'm just a white dude who does tattoos. That's what set I rep. I represent the Ink Squad. And you have to be cool with these guys. You can't come across as some badass. You can't come across as scared. So in an effort to try to play the middle, to basically take the middle road, I would just try to be a cool, funny guy. Hey man, I'm not with the gang stuff, man. I'm just looking to sling some ink. You want to get tatted? But even with as crazy and as wide open as this prison really was, there was one thing that I was able to pick up on in the 18 months that I spent at this facility. There was this rumor that I had heard the entire time that I was there, and that was that they had a lot of snitches at this prison. But even more than that, they had prisoners whose state job was to actually snitch. Literally. A state job is a job that you get when you get to a prison, whether it's washing laundry, whether it's working in the kitchen, cleaning bathrooms, cleaning the microwave. All of those are state jobs. And there was this crazy rumor that they had prisoners in each housing unit whose state job was to literally watch everything going on inside of the dorm and then report that information back to the investigators. This sounded crazy to me. I was like, there's no way they've got snitches on payroll here in prison. I was never able to say with 100% certainty that that was the case, but it probably was. There was a bunch of times that I got in trouble while at this prison for fighting, for tattooing, for contraband, for all sorts of stuff. But I'm going to tell you about these 2 instances I got caught for tattooing in a pretty crazy way. Crazy enough to make me think maybe they did have these snitches on payroll. In the first instance, I was inside of the housing unit. You have to imagine inside of these housing units that house over 100 prisoners in these confined spaces, they have bunks that run down either side of the wall. Bunks that run down this side of the wall, bunks that run down this side of the wall, and 2 rows of bunks that run straight down the middle of the housing unit. Well, it was all the way at the back of the housing unit in those middle row of bunks that I used to tattoo. And in this case, I was tattooing this big time MS-13 dude's stomach. I was literally putting a portrait of his daughter on his stomach when shit hit the fan. I heard the lock for the side door in the housing unit pop open. And when you tattoo locked up, you have got to familiarize yourself with all of the sounds that all of the doors make. However many doors are in the housing unit, you need to know exactly what each of those doors sound like. That way, when you hear a door open, you have a pretty good idea if it's either the front door, the side door, or the rear door. And while I was tattooing this high-ranking MS-13 dude's stomach, I heard the lock of that side door pop open. And the next thing I know, I hear a whole bunch of Spanish dudes in the housing unit yelling out, "Majando, Majando, Majando." I've got no idea what Majando means, but I picked up on it real quick and realized that probably means the police are in the housing unit. I immediately took the gloves off that I had on, unplugged the gun, unplugged the power source, put the ink away, hid everything, and I shot out of that back cut area and went right around the opposite side all the way to the front of the dorm where my bunk was at. As I'm walking down this lane inside of this housing unit toward my bunk area, I can see COs going toward that back cut area on the other side where I was just at. I didn't realize it at the time, but it wasn't just regular correctional officers who were making their rounds. It was literally the investigators who investigate beatings and other acts of violence, gang activity, and also tattooing. These investigators went all the way to the back right there where I was tattooing at, right there where that high-ranking MS-13 dude was still sitting at. And they immediately started tearing that entire area up because they could see the fresh tattoo right there on his stomach, and it didn't take them long to find all of the tattooing equipment right there along with him. While all of this is going on, I am at my bunk area, which is literally, ironically, right next to the side door where they just came through from. So while they're back there tearing up this hot area tattoo station, I am going through everything that I have, trying to get rid of all of the contraband that is in my possession. Tattoo paraphernalia, porn, ibuprofen pills, anything that I had, I was throwing it away. And once they got done tearing up that back cut area, they began looking for me. Only the crazy thing about it is, they didn't know who I was. I realized this when I saw them come right down that alley where my bunk is at and literally walked right past me out the door of the housing unit and didn't even say anything to me. 5 minutes later, they came right back into the housing unit and they had a picture in their hand, an actual photograph, like on a piece of paper. And what I didn't realize then was that that was an actual still shot from the camera in the dorm that had literally captured me shooting out of that back cut area. But the problem is the picture only had this much of me on it. It didn't have my face on the picture. For whatever reason, I was just lucky enough that the camera was angled in a certain direction and I was just out of the line of focus of that shot. The investigators immediately went to every white dude in the housing unit looking for tattoos on their arms because they could clearly see that whoever it was had tattoos on their arms. They couldn't see clearly what those tattoos were, and the crazy thing about it is every white dude who was in there had tattoos on their arm. They searched for me for like 10 to 20 minutes before they finally came up to my bunk area after I had already cleaned up everything that I had, And they said to me, they said, "Where were you at when we came through this side door?" "I was standing right here by my bunk." "No, you weren't, because we walked right by here and this bunk area was empty." Well, I honestly don't know where I was at. I didn't know I had to clock my every move while I was in prison. Go ahead, put your hands behind your back. Oh, here we go again. God, I'm getting so used to being arrested in prison. This is crazy. And then the big boss from the end of the level walked in through the front door of the housing unit. And this was actually the major of the prison, who was the head of the investigators. And he walked up to me and he said to me, he says, "Do you know who I am?" I said, "No, I don't." He said, "I am the major of this institution. Not only that, I'm the head of the investigators." Wow, that sounds pretty important. He says, "I know it was you who was back there tattooing, and you're gonna tell me that it was." I don't know what you're talking about." He said, "You and me, we are about to have us a major shitstorm." Dude, you're pretty good with these one-liners. You're good with this. You should have been in Hollywood, not a dickhead CO. He immediately escorted me out of the housing unit and down the boulevard of the prison all the way to the far end of the prison where his office was located. And he told me, he said, "Look, you were going to tell me that it was you who was tattooing, because if you don't, I'm going to lock you up in isolation under investigation for tattooing, and I can keep you back there forever." Okay, this is sounding a little crazy now, and I honestly believe he can do this, but I'm still not going to tell him it was me. Fuck him. He said, "That's all right, man. That's all right. Keep playing the tough guy." He says, "Because when we get to my office, we're going to look at a different camera." There's a different camera? He says, "And if we go in there and I show you this footage," he said, "you can cancel Christmas. You will be in isolation for who knows how long." This is not sounding good at all. We go into his office. He sits me down. The first thing I notice is all of this Navy SEAL memorabilia all over his office. And I can clearly see on the screen of his computer some sort of a movie playing. It looks like some sort of a paintball hostage negotiation type of scenario with GoPro cameras. And I think it was him who was in this. And I was like, wow, this guy, he's pretty freaking serious. He said, "This is your last chance. You can tell me before my finger hits this button or you're going down." At that point, I pretty much figured he had me caught red-handed, so I went ahead and I told him. "Hey, wait, don't hit that button. Don't hit the button. Don't. It was me." He said, "Why the fuck didn't you just tell me when I asked you in the first place?" He says, "I'm an understanding guy." Understanding? I'm not reading the understanding part. He said, "Why did you lie about it?" I said, "Dude, you're the investigator. Not only that, you're the major of this institution. Not only that, I've got like 3 tattooing charges already, and I've been trying to get my good time back." I said, "Hey man, I don't want to be in here doing this, breaking the rules. I'm trying to go home. I'm trying to get my good time back." I said, "But I have to tattoo to survive." I said, "I don't get no money from the outside world at all. I have no support. Tattooing is the only way that I'm surviving in here." And he pretty much listened to all of that. He actually typed up my name in the prisoner commissary thing and saw that I didn't have any money whatsoever and that I wasn't getting any money. So I guess for whatever reason, that was enough for him to actually feel sorry for me, I think. But he said, "I get it, man. I get it. You know, if it was me and I was in your shoes, hell, I'd be gambling and tattooing too." Well, all right then. I mean, this seems to be going a lot better than it started. Okay, that sounds good. He said, "But I'm still gonna lock you up." Damn it. Thought I was getting away here. He said, "I'm gonna put you in isolation for 14 days, 2 weeks, but I'm not gonna charge you. And I'm gonna lock you up because you lied to me." Yeah, that lying thing, that's not a good thing to do. And that's what happened. He locked me up after 14 days of starvation. I came out of isolation, went right back into general population, and began tattooing again. I don't know if you can sense the pattern here of the fact that I just was not learning at all from getting caught tattooing. And the crazy thing about it is sometimes you have to break the rules because that is how you survive while locked up. The second time that I want to tell you about was a little different. I was in this housing unit, I was tattooing, and there was a housing unit manager. She was a woman and she was a real piece of work, to say it nicely. And she also had some sort of a vendetta against me. I don't know why. It's probably because she knew I was tattooing in the housing unit and she was having a hard time catching me. All of her little housing unit snitches kept feeding her the information about me tattooing. I'm pretty sure that was the case because she was continuously always shaking me down, going through all of my stuff, putting on her latex gloves, talking shit to me the entire time. I can't wait to find this tattoo paraphernalia, Guerrero. Your ass is going down. You're not gonna find anything. I don't know what you're looking for, because one thing about it, I was pretty crafty when it came to hiding everything. You see, I had gone through enough of these searches to realize I knew what they would search and what they wouldn't search. And there was one thing in particular they weren't really searching too tough, and that was the absolute bottom of the lockers. You had a locker underneath your bunk that you could literally pull out. It was like a little drawer right there underneath your bunk. And it was underneath that drawer that I would hide everything. And how I would hide it, I had a soap dish with the little lid on it that latched down, and a magnet on that soap dish. And I would put all of my tattoo equipment in there, my prison style tattoo machine, my ink, everything that I needed was right there in that little soap dish, held by a magnet to the bottom of my foot locker. And it was during one of these searches when she was looking so hard for this tattooing equipment, as we are bickering back and forth, that she did something she hadn't done yet. And that was she called another prisoner over to my bunk area. And turns out it was a guy that I had just tattooed about a week ago. She tells this other prisoner, she says, "Hey, take off your shirt." So he takes his shirt off, and she turns him around so that his back is facing me as I'm sitting in my little plastic chair. And she says to me, she says, "Yeah, Guerrero, that looks real good. Real nice lettering you did right there." And the week prior, I had tattooed this guy's entire back. This tattoo said, "Hated by many, loved by few." And she looked at this tattoo and she looked at me and she says, "Yeah, Guerrero, those letters, they look good. That's good work right there." She said, "What does that say though? What does that say?" I don't know. What does it say? What do you want me to tell you what the tattoo says so I can be like, "Oh, it says hated by many, loved by few." Bing, ding, ding, ding. Well, how do you know what it says if you didn't do it? And I wasn't about to fall into that trap. I don't know what the tattoo says. I didn't do the tattoo, okay? I didn't do the tattoo. You put your shirt back on and the both of you come out into my office. Oh my God, we just got called into the principal's office. Oh no. So we go out into the office and she says, "I'm gonna tell you right now." Oh my God, I mean, she was so mad. I thought she wanted to hit me. She said, "I'm gonna tell you right now." She said, "You're gonna go back in there, you're gonna get me that tattoo stuff, or I'm gonna lock you up forever, and I'm gonna ship you off of here." Shipping me off of here might actually be a good thing. Sure thing. I went back into the housing unit and I did what I needed to do. I went and I began packing my stuff up. I was like, yes, I'm getting out of here. Fuck this place. There's too much snitching going on, too much crazy stuff going on. This guy at this level 1 facility, he lied to me about this. And meanwhile, as I'm packing my stuff up, here comes the other prisoner with the hated by many, loved by few tattoo. And he says, Joe, what are you doing, man?" I said, "Dude, I'm out. I'm packing my stuff. I'm going to the hole and I don't care. She can ship me." He said, "Dude, I can't get in any trouble." He said, "Please, dude, please just take her the tattooing stuff." What? I can't even believe what I'm hearing right here. You want me to go give myself up to this woman? He said, "Dude, I'm telling you, she won't charge us, man. She won't charge us." He said, please, I can't get a charge right now, please." Oh my God, man. He said, "We can get all new tattoo equipment. We'll get it right back." For whatever reason, maybe I felt sorry for this dude. I don't know. For whatever reason, I was like, you know what, man? Fuck it. I grabbed the tattoo stuff from underneath my locker. I went back out into her office and I went, threw it right on her desk. I said, "Here's the tattoo stuff." She said, "I knew you were in here tattooing the entire time. I told you I was gonna catch you." Hold on. You didn't catch me doing nothing. You would have never found this had I not walked into your office and sat it on your desk. Let's clear that up right now. So with me and this other guy sitting in her office, she said, "I tell you what I'm gonna do. You're gonna go back into that dorm and you're gonna write me a 3-page essay on why it's not safe to tattoo while locked up, and I'm not gonna charge you." What? Woman, I'm doing time. I'm doing a lot of time here. You think I'm going back in there to write you some freaking book report? I told her just like this. I said, "Fuck that. Take me to the hole. I'm ready to go." And she definitely did not like that. And the next thing I knew, I was in the hole. And another 14 days in isolation. No big deal, I thought. I said, hey, fuck it. It's just another 14 days of starvation. After this, I'll come right back out and go right back to doing what I've been doing. But it was sitting in isolation with this loud, dumbass, obnoxious dude in the cell right next to mine that everything kind of changed. This guy from the other cell, he asked the CO one day, he said, "Hey man, am I getting shipped?" And the CO said, "I don't know, let me go check." And he came back and he said, "Oh, hell yeah, you're getting shipped. You tried to assault a staff member." He said, You're going to a level 4. I'm sitting right there at the door eating my toothpaste. Oh, this is interesting. Listening to all this, because when you're in isolation, you really have nothing to do. So anything is a means of entertainment, I guess. And as this guy in the other cell started to cry like, no, man, they can't send me to a level 4. This toothpaste is pretty good. The CO walked up to my cell and he said, Guerrero? Yeah, you got any more toothpaste? He said, you're getting shipped too. Am I? Where am I going? He said, have you ever heard of a behavioral modification program? What? What? He said, Indian Creek. Indian Creek? Are you kidding me? I know all about Indian Creek. He said, well, guess what? That's where you're going. And that there is how I ended up getting transferred again. And we'll go ahead and end this right here and pick this up some other time. It won't be tomorrow, but it will be sometime soon. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did so, please leave a like and a comment. Let me know exactly what you thought about it. And as always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world. Never take a moment for granted, and make the most of every day.